Welcome to Python programming. I'm really super excited that you are here so that you can learn. So my name is James Owen. So I will be your instructor for the entire introduction to Python course. So you can check or follow me at Twitter on James Owen, James_Owen, and GitHub at James Owen. So I'm also going to link my GitHub page where you're going to also check on the reference of the courses we'll be doing. So I've already finished developing the introduction course and you can check it on my GitHub page. So getting started, what is Python? This is the logo and we really know what it is now. So you can ask yourself, who, what, and why Python? So let's check. Python actually, about the readability, is actually like most of the programs. You will just be writing like in one line, might be up to 3 lines in other programming languages. And also one of the awesome thing about Python is that it the open source. So it's open source and it allows up to test-driven development. So what test-driven development means is you write test before writing your code. So already you know what's the output, and then you really want to actually write the code that will meet the condition you have already set it. Then there's no really lots of stories. Like print hello world, it's not like, hey, like Java, like system.print.out.println hello world. And remember, you still have strings and arguments, public classes, interfaces in Java. But in Python, the only thing you have to do is print hello world. That's why it's one of the simplest programming languages. And it's also compatible with many systems with a little bit more of integration libraries. So we'll get to know more about them. So let's check first. Where can you apply Python? So when you actually want to work with the web technologies, so you have Flask and Django, which are written in Python. So it's going to be easier for you to maintain web applications than the backend. So you can still perform systems automations with actually backend with Python. So you can write scripts and also use them to automate. So you can write scripts in Bash and then in Python, then write actually integrate them with Bash. So the next thing is you can still perform gaming with Python. So we have artificial intelligence and machine learning. So we'll come to learn about a technology called TensorFlow, which is actually powered. It powers actually most of the Android devices. So including actually your Android application, some of them are really being powered by TensorFlow. So we're going to learn more about it. So the next thing is the awesomeness, automation fire, when actually Bash meets Python. We'll get to know what that is. So in some parts, you will be using Python for systems administration roles and also site reliability, and as we've talked about, systems automation. Great. So what are some actually the building blocks of Python? So we have actually syntax. So we have white spaces. So maybe let's say for Java, we have semicolon, then in Python, we do have white spaces. So there's no shortcut. You must be sure of where you're actually writing your code. So it actually includes our control statements. We'll come to look into this. Then we do have functions, classes, error handling, list tuples, and sets. So we're going to cover this in our intermediate class. So I just decided that we're going to mention them just in general. So we have scripting. Then most tools you'll be interacting with as a Python engineer. So we have PyCharm. So PyCharm actually and VS Code are some of the editors we're going to be using in this course. For our first introduction, we're going to use Visual Studio Code because it's actually light. So I'm trying to consider those who have light laptops. So not light actually, but the specifications are a little bit low. So that's why we'll be using Visual Studio Code in our first course. So in our intermediate and advanced, we're going to go with PyCharm because we're going to build complex projects. So also we're going to interact with the terminal, and then at some point when we will be doing data analysis in our intermediate course, we'll be using Jupyter Notebook and also one called Anaconda. So and then for Atom, these are actually for the Linux guys. So I prefer you use Atom. So then for scikit-learn, this is just a library for performing data analysis. So we'll get to know more about it here. So don't worry about all these other things. So when it comes to handling errors, do not run away. So you might be running your code at some point and things don't seem to work, but thanks to this actually way of programming, so there is actually where there are cases where you're going to be handling errors. So there are some like maybe try catch in Java, then there are also the exception catch in Python. So we're going to know all this. We are almost there. Let's actually do some basics. Let's go. We're going to write code from now on. Let's get started.